Hey everybody, welcome to Live at 5. I'm Jack.
I'm Jake.
This is Live at 5. Jake, did you know this was Live at 5?
No, I didn't know
Oh, man. Well, welcome to Island Music Company. I'm Jack.
I'm Jake.
Yeah, see, he caught on. He's paying attention. He's alive. He's awake. He's alert. This is Live at 5 at Island Music Company. Woo. All right, cool. No.
All right.
All right. It's been a fun, wild, crazy day here at the store. Lots of running around. Lots of chaos. I'm here for it. It's a good time. We've got an Epiphone, 3 Gibsons, a Taylor, a Martin, and a Sully. You heard me right. I said Sully.
Yes.
I don't mean Sully. I'm off screen. Sorry. I don't mean.
Come back on screen.
I'm back. I'm here. I'm alive. No, I don't mean Sully like Monsters, Inc. It does have purple on it, though. Sully had some purple, but not quite the same.
It doesn't sparkle.
It doesn't sparkle. It's not frightening.
No.
It's very cool. I like it. We're going to talk about it last. So.
Okay.
You got to make you wait. I can't give you the good stuff right away. You know, because if I gave the good thing right away, you guys would tune out, and then our insights would say the live streams are only good for 30 seconds to a couple minutes, so we can't have that. So instead, we're going to start in a very more traditional kind of way. We're going to do the 59 vintage old stock. I had to find it. I was like, it's on this wall somewhere. This here is a Gibson 1959 reissue of a Les Paul, built to the modern capabilities, but the vintage specs. I like that. Modern capabilities with vintage specs. Let's clean that up. How can we... Modern capabilities with vintage appointments. Look out, world. I'm going to start writing descriptions for guitars. This is the 59 reissue Les Paul. Gorgeous guitar. Amazing feel on the neck. You have the awesome old school tuners with the little tulip style buttons there. Let's see my notes here. 2-piece. Yeah, I just want to confirm. 2-piece top. 50s rounded C on the neck profile. ABR1 bridge. Where's my notes on the pickups? How did I not write the pickups down? Oh, there it is. Custom Bucker, Alnico 3s. I mixed them in with the other stuff. It was in with the hardware. Yeah. It's got the Gibson custom badge on the back. So to be blunt and honest, this is one of our used guitars here in the store. All but 2 of these guitars are used guitars. We're doing a little mini, I say mini, but I said all but 2. So a majority used episode.
Broken in episode.
Fun guitars. They're cool guitars. So Gibson 59 reissue of the Les Paul from the custom shop. Used here in stock right now at Island Music Company. Gorgeous figuring on the top. Great guitar. And of course, it's a custom shop, but it's used, so it comes into a very budget-friendly price if you're looking in that direction. It should be live online, which means it is also at a used price, but also on sale this weekend.
Oh, is
right
it?
now, we're doing our 4th of July Independence Day sale. 10% off everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you can come into the store. We're closed tomorrow, July 4th, by the way. You know, because America. And then we'll be open again Saturday. But maybe you don't live around here. Maybe you do, you just don't want to drive. Maybe you just want to, maybe you live in Arkansas. And you're just like, I sure saw a guitar. No, I'm just kidding. Like, you see something here on our site, on Reverb or anything like that you're a fan of, and you would like to own said product.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my favorite part about this weekend sale, Jake.
Yep.
You go to islandmusicco.com, islandmusicco.com.
Uh-huh.
Put whatever you want in that shopping cart of yours. And when it comes time to put in your code to redeem 10% off, you know what that code is, Jake?
No, Jack, what is that
You're going
code?
to type in the word hot dogs. One big old word. Just one hot dogs. And you'll get 10% off everything. Can you tell I made the post?
One big hot dog.
Just the word, hot dogs. And what's fun is I get to come up with all the codes for our sales. And since it was an Independence Day, 4th of July thing, I was like, well, who doesn't love hot dogs? So use hot dogs at islandmusicco.com and get 10% off your purchase now through July 7th.
And I just put stuff online and put in codes he gives me.
This is true. Jake just does whatever I tell him to do.
I think that's just my job description.
Jake's job description, quote unquote, whatever Jack says. I love this guitar. I don't know how great that sounds considering it's just a little lav mic clipped onto my shirt and the sound comes from the front of the guitar but the mic is behind it. But
Well, it was picking up something when I was looking.
you can't copyright that YouTube. I wrote it. It's mine. So it's one of my songs. You can't take it down. I wrote that. It's a so this is the
You need to put us on the approved list then.
done. This is me declaring it's like when Michael Scott declared bankruptcy in the office.
We'll worry about that later.
This is the 000 15 SM. So it's a 12 fret body, slotted headstock, and I've always been a huge fan of these guitars. My only concern is the fact that I destroy tops of guitars from all my heavy strumming, and this being a satin top guitar, it wouldn't stand a chance. And I'll just be totally honest. It's a great guitar. It sounds awesome. The 000 15, specifically the mahoganies, are one of my all-time favorite acoustics to exist. The fact that I don't own one is, I don't know why. I don't know. It might be time to change that. Might be. Anyways, this one's used and it's 10% off. So it's used and you get that great 10% off deal.
What's that code, Jack?
Hot Dogs. Go to islandmusicco.com and use the code Hot Dogs to get 10% off of this awesome guitar right here. So, what I love about this guitar specifically this used model that's in my hands right now, is whoever owned this guitar when they traded it into us had the insight to string it with Martin retro strings. Retro strings, they're not old strings. It's not something you buy at the antique store. They're made out of Monel. And Monel is essentially the same, if not the very the most similar to the strings that would have been on guitars, back in the day. And so when I say back in the day, I don't mean like the 60s and 50s. I mean like way before that. Remember, Martin's been around a long time. 1833.
Mm-hmm.
So, there wasn't nickel-plated steel guitar strings. There wasn't all that. So they had different materials then. Monel comes from that branch of material where the guitar strings where it came from. So we're talking all mahogany construction, even the neck. There's a little bit of like patina in the finish of the neck when it comes down to the headstock here, which tells me whoever owned this guitar, no judgment, no shame, but loved playing their good old cowboy chords, and their hand never left this position because the satin finish down here is perfect. But right here where you're making that G, that C, the D shape, everything, it's all worn out right there, and it feels really nice. There's something to be said about that we, as a guitar buying community, we hunt down these guitars that have the cleanest finish on a neck, but there's a reason why companies like Fender have launched all these guitars that have the rounded edges on the fretboard. What that's replicating is when you're playing a guitar for over a long period of time, you're wearing in that neck, you're wearing in that fretboard. So you're buying a new guitar that you're paying more for that technique that they're doing in the factory where they're rounding off the edges of the fretboard, because that is simulating a guitar much like this 000 15 SM that's 10% off with the code HOTDOGS, is they're simulating the fact that the edges of this fretboard have been rounded off from the, not wear and tear, but from the usage. My Martin that I use for all my gigs is a great example of this. The neck, the back of the neck, there's almost nothing left of the original finish. It's all worn out. It's all very smooth. And the edges of my fretboard are basically just blended in to the neck at this point. And it feels amazingly comfortable for me to a point to where I pick up any other guitar in the world, I'm like, oh, what is this? The only other acoustic guitar I own that feels as comfortable as my 2015 Martin is my 1975 Martin, because the necks are about just as worn in on the same. So, just a little insider knowledge if you're going to feel the shape of a used guitar neck from a well-played guitar versus a new one, and you might think, oh, even though these guitars are the same, they feel a little different. Wood is a malleable material. I think I'm using the right word there. You can is that malleable? You can make it into other things, I think.
Sure.
Someone get me a thesaurus. Or a dictionary and a thesaurus. Thank you. I expect to see it in the comments. Let's go. But that's where all that comes from and stems down to. Sometimes vintage guitars, older guitar, used guitars, to me, are worth looking at and investing in because things like the neck could be worn in and played in. You might find it to be way more comfortable versus a new version. Just throwing that out there. Back over here. This is a Gibson 2014. I think this is the 14. Let me check the serial number. No, that's the 2004, which I know I could just easily grab, but we're going to go in the order of my notes. So I would make this the 2014. Stupid black headstocks. Can't read anything. No. This is not a 14 either. This is a 90s Les Paul. Someone labeled it wrong. So, I don't have proper notes for this, but it's a Les Paul Custom. So what do we know about Les Paul Custom, Jake? They're all mahogany. You don't have to worry so much about a maple veneer cap because it's all painted solid black. This is gold hardware. You have your block inlays, the traditional Gibson headstock. But yeah, we have a Gibson. It's a custom. It's not even a standard. This is what? The case said 2014 standard. This is a 1997 Gibson Les Paul Custom. So we're going to have to change a few things when it comes to listing this guitar. But this guitar is outstanding. Considering it's from the 90s, which this sounds terrible to say, but it's in great shape. It's a 30-year-old guitar. It's 28, sorry. A few dings and scratches on the back, but it's in great shape. Feels like a 90s Les Paul. It's got a little bit of weight to it. But overall, great shape. I heard it when they were testing it out before we bought it in. It sounds really great. Whew, that's a fun little discovery. That's interesting. We'll definitely have to look into that. So now we'll move on to the other Les Paul. This, according to the notes I took, let me check this case over here just to be sure. Yeah, this is a 2004. Yep, there's notes right here. All right. Mahogany, body and neck, maple cap. Let's see here. Fluctuates usually right around 9 or 10 pounds. Is that a AAA top? It says it should be a AAA, but it's a little muddy in the middle between the pickups there. Grover tuners. Yeah, 2004, made in USA. Heritage cherry. We started using this really cool forensic tape to kind of show how big dings and scratches are in used guitars. So check that out in some of the upcoming photos we got. But it plays great, feels awesome. An amazing slim taper style neck. Can't go wrong with the Heritage Cherry Burst from Gibson. It's one of their very traditional finishes. I'm a huge fan of that. In stock right now here at Island Music Company. I'm not sure if it's online or will be posted online here soon. But keep an eye out for that. Great guitar. Moving down the list. This one just came in today. This is a Taylor K22 CE 12 fret. I love a good 12 fret acoustic, as we saw me messing around with the Martin 0015 SM there. The K22. So we're looking at a Koa body all around, maple binding, 12 fret neck, slotted headstock, with the like oval circular edges on the insides of the headstock. ES2 electronics, V-class bracing, gorgeous inlay work going down the neck and the binding around the edges. We're looking at 5-piece binding work there. Gorgeous guitar. Like I said, just came in today. So I thought definitely have to show this off and talk about it. The K22 CE 12 fret from our friends at Taylor Guitars. Very shiny, as you can't tell as I'm trying to show it off. There we go. Boom. The prize shot right there. So, Taylor K22 CE 12 fret. Moving on, Oh, is that the end of my, no. Oh, I missed the Epiphone. Let's see. Oh, it was hanging up, so I missed walking around taking notes off the cases because it was hanging up behind me because it didn't have a case. Well, I don't want to say it doesn't have a case, but it probably doesn't. So, thankfully, we have these cool traveler's cards with our used gear. We check these cards off when we take items here in the store. So if you ever buy a used guitar from us, these cards get checked off. And on these cards, we check all the appointments on it. We make sure the hardware is good. We make sure the electronics are working. We make any notes about gear that might have been modified or swapped out or whatever. So we try to make notes of like what pickups might have been swapped out to it. Are the tuners different? Did someone paint it? You know, things like that. And so we're looking here. So nothing. Nothing specific. These notes say that there's all these changes on, but these are actually just standard models to the guitar. So it's a Pro Bucker 1 and 3. Remember the Pro Buckers, Burst Buckers. When Gibson does 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 are your different levels of gain, output, so to speak. So like that 50s Gibson or Epiphone inspired by Gibson custom shop Flying V. That had a Burst Bucker 3 and 2. So 3 is the bridge, 2 is the neck. So even your Burst Bucker 2 is still a pretty decent high gain output. And that was like your neck pickup. So that guitar sang and wailed like nothing else. This has a 3 in the bridge and the 1 in the neck. So you can get very traditional semi-hollow. This is the Sheridan? Yeah. Sheridan Pro 2. So having that warmer, more vintage style output pickup in the neck gives you that classic 335 sound that people are looking for, even though it's the Sheridan, you know. It brings it all together. And then that Burst Bucker, or the Pro Bucker, what did I say, Burst Bucker or Pro Bucker? Pro Bucker. The Pro Bucker 3 in the bridge. It's going to give you all the high gain output you can want. All right, last guitar. The one I said we were going to save for last is in fact last. This is the Sully Conspiracy. I'm going to read off the card and then I'll pick the guitar up and show it to you. This was one that hit the door a few months ago. I can't remember exactly when. It's been played locally around the area, and the previous owner decided it was time to upgrade and move on to a few other things, even though this guitar is amazing. You know how some of us are. We're always wheeling, dealing, selling, trading, finding new things. And guilty as charged. And this just happens to be one of the pieces that was fortunate. I love when a used guitar comes back to the store because it's fun to sell that guitar to somebody else because we kind of know the story behind it. We know where it was. We know what it was used for. And so it kind of helps create this experience. There is one Strat in particular. You know, Grant, remember, Jake and I both started here, 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so we've seen a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar people. And there's one specific Strat. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've had one specific Fender Strat that has been traded in and sold 4 different times. And I've facilitated all 4 of those sales. And it's fun because people's like, where'd this guitar come from? I was like, well, this guy bought it. I don't say names because, privacy. But it's like, well, this person bought it and they did it for this, but before him it was owned by this guy. Before him it was owned this person. They did this thing. And it's fun because then you as the buyer, you know the full history behind this used guitar. Because like I have a Martin from the 70s and like I don't know anything about who owned it or where it was at. I just think of what songs came out in the 70s. And it's cool to think of like what songs was the owner of that guitar playing on that guitar that are songs that I also play and listen to now. So it's just fun. Stuff like that just makes it exciting. It puts a story to it, and it makes you excited about something.
Yeah, there's a PRS that I remember just seeing it throughout the years. Was hollow body one?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it's been traded a couple times.
Yeah,
a couple different people. So it's fun stuff like that. Just little stories.
It's not really bad guitar.
No, they're great guitars. It's just fun, people decide to move on, upgrade, whatever, and then it gets brought in and creates a story for the new buyer. It's just a good time. The Sully Conspiracy. It's an alder body. This is a a roasted maple. I was combining roasted and maple, and I came up with rasted. So a roasted maple neck with a pale moon ebony fingerboard up into the headstock layer. 12 to 16 inch radius. There's no inlay work because, let's be honest, you don't want to mess up that pale moon. That's such a gorgeous look. Jumbo stainless steel frets. This is a very it's a purple finish sparkle. The neck pickup is called the Al Pastor. The bridge pickup is the Salty Bastard. That's just fun. That's a good one. Good job. Good job, Sully. That's a fun name. We're looking at a volume with a push-pull to split the coils. You have a toggle switch. 1500 series Floyd Rose. 19 to 1 ratio locking tuners, which we'll get to in a second. And the resistance on the pots, yeah. And then it even gives you the setup specs, which is really cool, because if you want to get it set up back to factory standards, it's all written there on the card. Jake, I got a gripe I need to get over here. And it's not an attack on any company specifically. It's just a personal opinion I don't understand.
Okay.
Why are we, as guitar builders, not we, but we're doing the locking nut because of the Floyd Rose. But then companies are also putting locking tuners. And it baffles me because the string stops here. You have fine tuners down here. Why are we also putting locking tuners on guitars that have locking nuts? The string stop. There's nothing going. I don't understand. Someone, if you know, please comment, message me. I don't understand. It's
actually a redundancy to make sure that it does stay stabilized. If you accidentally leave the nut open, then the tuners are there for you.
I'm not buying into it.
I'm an engineer.
I'm not buying into it. Because I feel like when you loosen the nut, it messes with the tension, and it's going to throw it out of tune, and even though it's tight up there because it's... Anyways, this is the awesome Sully guitar. As soon as we unveiled this to the customer from when they first bought it, the pale moon is gorgeous. I want all my guitars to have pale moon ebony on there. They're fantastic guitars. So let's see. We're running a little later here than I'd like, but we started a little late just because things are a little crazy around here. So we're going to do a speed run through the guitars. We're going to sign off. Remember, we are closed tomorrow, July 4th. We'll be open July 5th, 10 a.m. And if in the meantime you want to buy a guitar, one of these guitars, if they're online, you want to buy one of these guitars, go to islandmusicco.com and use the code HOTDOGS for 10% off.
What was that code?
HOTDOGS. You can get 10% off your order. And we'll be happy to ship it out to you when we're back in the store Saturday or Monday. It just depends on when you place your order. So, we have the 2014 Gibson Les Paul Standard in the Heritage Cherry Sunburst. This is the, I forget the year this was built, but this is the 1959, is it 59 or 58? Did I mess that up? I think it was a 59. 1959 Les Paul reissued in the vintage old stock. This is the 0015S. I remember that's a 12 fret 000 mahogany body, slotted headstock. That one's used. This was the Sully Conspiracy. This had the Al Pastor. What was it called? The Salty Bastard. I forgot the first word. I didn't forget bastard, but I forgot the first one. Gorgeous purple sparkle finish. Amazing pale moon ebony fretboard. Mike, and you know who I'm talking to. Mike, if you're watching the show right now, what do you think about this guitar? Because you're looking at some purple sparkle custom style stuff. This guitar was custom built and designed from the ground up because that's how you order the Sully guitars. So shoot me a DM, Mike. You might be interested in this one. Come check it out. This is the K22 CE 12 fret from Taylor. All Koa construction, minus obviously the ebony fingerboard and all that. Fantastic guitar. Love a good 12 fret. They're just such comfortable guitars. This was our accidental discovery of a 97 Gibson Les Paul custom. So we're going to look into that, and that'll be available online probably next week with updated pricing and all that. And then the Sheridan 2 Pro from our friends at Epiphone/Gibson. And that has the Pro Buckers in it. That's the speed run. Those are the guitars. This was Live at 5. I'm Jack.
I'm Jake.
And we're closed tomorrow for the 4th of July. You're still going to show up. You're still going to call. It's fine. We won't be here. Enjoy your 4th. Stay safe. Come back with all your fingers so you can play some more guitar. We'll see you next week.
Bye.